If fiber is supposed to be good for me, why does my stomach hurt every time I increase my fiber? I'm Colleen. I practice family medicine in Washington State. This is a very common question, and it's difficult to get people motivated to increase their fiber when every time they try to increase their fiber, their stomach hurts. So, what is actually happening? That's the first question we're going to answer today. Fiber is essential for long-term health, but increasing your fiber intake by too much too quickly is going to lead to serious stomach cramps and bloating. This is coming from two physical processes in the gut: water retention and gas generation. Both water retention and gas generation extend and stretch the intestines. This is what is causing the pain. The osmotic effect is the water. Many high fiber foods contain FODMAPs. These are fermented sugars, and they're found in things like garlic, onion, and vegetable skins. Our small intestines do not absorb these short chain sugars very well. This in turn is going to pull excess water into the gut, causing the bloating. Then we have the fermation effect. This is the gas. When fiber reaches the colon, so now we're out of the small intestines and into the large intestine, the gut bacteria feast. They are eating these sugars quickly. This fermentation process creates hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and methane gas, hence the smells. The combination of extra water and excess gas stretches the intestinal walls. This is what is creating that gas, that cramping, and that bloating. We reviewed the physical changes that are creating the cramping and the pain when people ingest too much fiber. But it doesn't affect everyone similarly. Using MRI technology, scientists have found that people without symptoms of pain and people with pain actually produce the same amount of intestinal stretch. The big difference is visceral hypersensitivity. This is just a fancy word to say like how sensitive we are to the pain that is happening in our organs. Some people are simply more sensitive to that. They are going to be experiencing more pain than people who may not be as sensitive. What can we do about this if we do have visceral hypersensitivity? The type of fiber that you intake actually does matter. If you are eating a lot of insoluble fiber, this is actually bad for your pain. Insoluble fiber is found in food items like wheat bran, whole grains, and vegetable skins. A lot of major gastrointestinal organizations warn that this type of fiber worsens bloating and abdominal pain. People who have visceral hypersensitivity, sometimes they fall into this irritable bowel syndrome category. They are going to do better with soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is psyllium. That's Metamucil. It's found in that big orange container. You can put a scoopful in your water every day. This is a good way to get that soluble fiber. It's actually the first line therapy for people who have irritable bowel syndrome because it does decrease the pain and especially the constipation of irritable bowel syndrome. So we've talked about the twin mechanisms causing this stretching of the intestinal walls: the water retention and the gas production. We've talked about the fact that different types of fiber are going to cause different symptoms and that not everyone is going to experience the abdominal pain to the same extent. Now it's time to talk about some practical recommendations, especially avoiding the fiber shock. So the truth of the matter is Americans don't eat enough fiber. I've seen anywhere from 7 grams of fiber on average to about 15 grams of fiber on average. It doesn't really matter. It's about half of what we really need for our long-term health, because we know that fiber is going to improve the way your body manages your blood sugars. So we're going to see less diabetes. It's going to help pull cholesterol from your system. So we're going to see less heart disease. It's going to actually cleanse out your colon. So we see less colon cancer for people who have a higher fiber diet. So fiber is really important, but when anybody hears add more fiber to their diet, they immediately go out and they want to achieve that final goal, that goal of between 25 to 31 grams of fiber a day. But if your body has been managing fiber at the 7 to even 15 grams of fiber per day, it's going to be too much. Your body's not going to be ready for it. you are going to have abdominal pain and bloating. And when that happens with your high fiber diet, we end up on this negative feedback and we just associate high fiber foods with pain and bloating and we stop eating it. How do we get around this? The primary strategy that all specialists are recommending, and most of your primary care providers as well, is to slow it down. Let's start with just taking an inventory. Just like you would before you go grocery shopping, check out what's in your pantry. Take a look at how you're eating right now. Calculate your fiber intake, or just take a look at how many servings of vegetables and fruits, how many servings of legumes and beans that you are getting in your diet every day. Take a couple of weeks to do this. Get a good idea because it may not be the same every day. You may have some days where you take in more than others. Then do an honest self-evaluation. Do you have a sensitive stomach? Are you that person that if anytime you change your diet, you're going to get stomach upset? You need to be extra careful and go extra slow. If you're a person who can change your diet and really nothing ever bothers you, you probably have the ability to titrate up your fiber intake quicker. Finally, you need to set realistic goals. You need to be increasing your fiber in a way that will stick for you. What I have seen work for people. Some people, they simply add a quarter cup of green peas every day. They go to the grocery store, they buy that bag of frozen peas, they stick it in the freezer, and they add that to their diet. That's a good way to get some fiber in their diet. And if they slowly increase, they're going to tolerate that very well. Other people are going to need that Metamucil. Maybe they have that irritable bowel syndrome, and it's really actually better for them to start with the Metamucil and get their bowels kind of settled down and regulated before they start adding more fiber-rich foods. It can be really difficult if you also are a person who has sensitivities to textures and smells of food, or you have ADHD and adding any new habit is difficult. This is when you really need to couple it with something that you do every day already, and you need to be able to keep it simple and not try to do too much all at once. Remember, we are playing a long game here. We're not trying to get you to 30 grams tomorrow. We are really we're looking at 10, 20, 30 years down the road and a healthier you. We want you to live a long and healthy life, and a high fiber diet is going to be part of that picture. Sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the bio.